Hi, and welcome to the speaker series. My name is Ellie Weisbaum, and I'm an assistant professor at the University of Toronto's Buddhism, Psychology, and Mental Health program. What you're about to watch is an excerpt from my course, Buddhist Perspectives on Current Social Issues, where we invited a series of international guest lecturers to share their perspective on how mindfulness and compassion can inform our approaches to current social issues, both at an individual and systemic level. This series was sponsored by the New College Initiatives Fund, and we really hope that these dialogues can serve to be engaging and informative for the context of your daily life, and that they can help us collectively consider how we can build a more healthy and compassionate society. Thanks for joining us, and enjoy the video. The speaker you're about to watch is Kaira Jewel Lingo. She earned a BA and MA from Stanford University in Anthropology and Social Sciences with a focus on African Diaspora and liberatory education for African American students. She spent 15 years as a Buddhist nun in the Plum Village Tradition of Thich Nhat Hanh, and she now works internationally, facilitating and leading retreats around the world. Her most recent book is We Were Made for These Times, 10 Lessons for Moving Through Change, Loss, and Disruption. It was a pleasure to have her in the class. I hope you enjoy her talk.
Just a story about this. My dad worked in the civil rights movement as a white Southerner, organizing white Southerners to stand up for civil rights. So in Alabama, he worked with the concerned white citizens of Alabama, white Southerners who cared about what was happening to Black folks, to those who weren't white. And he would organize with them an event, a demonstration, and then the next day, most of them would lose their jobs, or their wives or their husbands would be punished somehow for standing up against the social order of their day. So of course this was happening to Black people, to other folks of color who were demonstrating and standing up for their civil rights. That was a matter of course. But it was also happening to those who chose to disobey the rules of how you are white in a white dominated society, in a white bodied supremacy society. So all of those means serve to dissuade people from speaking out, from, it's like, even if you don't believe in a certain kind of prejudice about a group of people, say you're straight, right? And you don't discriminate against people who are queer, who are gay. But if you are part of a group of people where speaking out against discrimination towards queer folks would really jeopardize you and your belonging, you're going to really have trouble deciding whether or not you want to do that, right? Like Melina, what you talked about, not being safe to come out in your high school. There were probably many teens who were open about, who were, accepting of queerness, but because the dominant heteronormative and homophobic culture kept them under pressure, they couldn't be accepting, right? So just noticing like how that works, how those kinds of pressures keep us from speaking out, keep us from naming injustice, because we stand to lose our privilege in that area if we speak up for those who don't have privilege. So, so the last thing, I'll just link this to what many of you, we read some of your questions that Ellie has been keeping track of about how do we, how do we approach people who think so differently from ourselves and who may hold views that we find really problematic, really harmful. it's part of this whole thing we're talking about too, connected to the vagus nerve, connecting to the need to belong, connecting to what it means. How do we use our privilege? Actually, we can use our privilege to disrupt the way our society leaves some people out by marginalizing them for their particular identity. So I think it's really important when we have interactions or we know people, maybe even people close to us that hold views that we really find problematic, that we don't dehumanize them. So one part is how we ourselves look at them, even if their views are really repugnant to us or really confusing or anger us or trigger us. How do we see them as different from their views? Because if we dehumanize them and push them out of our heart, there's not really much possibility of coming to a deeper understanding. It doesn't mean that we accept and that we won't challenge what we feel is a harmful stance, but how to do it where we really continue to see their humanity and see ourselves as completely interconnected with them. And then, that's an inner piece, and an outer piece of challenging these harmful, if we feel they're harmful perspectives or views, is to make sure we have support, to work in community, to work with others, even just a small group of 3 or 4 or 5 people who are willing together to stand up for something, even if it means, you may have consequences for that. You may lose something, you may have to sacrifice something, but work with others, work in community to bring light to those things that you experience as harmful.
Thanks for watching the video. We hope you found it engaging and informative. If you'd like to know more about programming in the Buddhism, Psychology, and Mental Health program or other public series and events that we have coming up, please check out in the description a link to our website and also more about the speaker in this video. Thanks for joining us.